there, ref. That's he got the ball. Good afternoon, Tottenham fans all across the world, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur for your pre-match build-up as we build up to Tottenham versus Liverpool today. I would argue the game of the weekend. All eyes are on this one. Can Liverpool, extend their run at the top and be top by Christmas, or can Tottenham perform the ultimate Christmas miracle the week before Christmas and turn things around? It's certainly going to be a good spectacle today, and anyone that knows me knows this game means a lot. There's a lot of people around me that are Liverpool fans. Their eyes are sitting there. They're like vultures. They're sitting there praying, waiting for my downfall. So hopefully today, Tottenham can rise from the ashes and put one by them. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We beat them at home last season, so hopefully we can do it again. And, of course, this is the penultimate game for Tottenham Hotspur before Christmas. We'll go around the panel, find out how they are, get into the chat, see who's with us, and then we'll give everybody everything they need to know and start talking about the hot topics. If there is anybody going to the game today, there is a protest organised across from the club shop at 3 p.m. So if you are going and that's what you want to do, get down there. I'm not telling people what to do at the end of the day. I'm just making people aware of the little things that go on around match day, like I did last week with Return of the Shelf and the noise that they were trying to generate before the United game. We'll go around the panel, find out how they are. Jack, good afternoon, or shall I say early morning to you. How are you?
I wish it were the afternoon. Professional intro as always, Dave. Fabulous job. Ready to entertain Jamie Carragher and teach Jamie Carragher a lesson today. That's what's kind of on the cards for Ange Postecoglou. So looking forward to this game. I think it's just a good opportunity to ride the high of the Manchester United game. I kind of said earlier, I'm going to be happy clapping for a week after that game against Man U. I don't really care what people feel about the last game, whether it meant a lot to them or whether it meant nothing to them. I'm going to be happy clapping for a week. So this is a nice little bonus and potentially an opportunity to, get some words back from Jamie Carragher maybe and some praise of Ange Postecoglou.
Well, two things there. I'm absolutely with you. I'm buzzing to be in a semi-final. I think heading into 2025, it gives you something to get excited for rather than sitting there talking about managers and shit like that. We have something to look forward to, and I think it means Postecoglou won't be going anywhere anytime soon. And the second thing is Jamie Carragher. I never even thought about that heading into this game. So hopefully Postecoglou can get one over him because he did name check him. And then it'd be fantastic for him to sit there after the game, if he is in the studio today, after dissect a tactical masterclass. That'd be absolutely brilliant.
Is it my internet?
Oh, is it mine? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. I think it might be yours this time.
I think Jack might have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jack.
I must admit, I love the picture Jack Scott he's left us with. It was like, that's just a happy Tottenham fan.
Absolutely buzzing. He's absolutely buzzing. Dermot, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Great weekend. A bit disappointed with Fury last night. Yumi had different thoughts on the fight, which is like football, optional. But weren't you guys not entertained on the other night? And we're going to be entertained again today. It's who we are, mate. In Ange we trust. We're going to beat them Liverpool Scousers. The only thing I worry about today, Dave, right, is will they leave the wheels on the team bus? Will they nick the wheels and take them back to Liverpool with them? Please just leave the wheels on our bus. We need it for St. Stephen's Day. Thank you.
Fair enough. You've heard it there first. We need to get security. We need to get some stewards around the team bus this afternoon. Drew, how are you, my man?
I'm doing all right, thanks, man. Looking forward to our third win in 26 games against Liverpool. The happiest clapper there can be this morning, so very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. Big up to you, fine gentlemen. Always good to see you, and big up to everybody in the chat. Smash a like. Let's get this going.
I really appreciate it. It's great to have you back, my man. Really appreciate it. Big game today. Look, let's welcome some people in the chat, and then let's give everybody everything they need to know and crack on. We have Spurs diehards in the house. Big up, Adrian. Good to see you. I suppose you're at the game today, my man. Enjoy yourself. We also have David L, Tottenham seconds versus Liverpool. See, it seems like that every single week, every team we come up against. George Caradas, good day, lads. Can't wait to see a win today. Can't see a win today, unfortunately. Look, to be honest with you, I make no secret about my whole lifetime. I'm used to being beaten by Liverpool. I always get the rub of the green, rub of the decisions, the VAR when that's been introduced seems to go their way as well. I'm not sure whether they're paying for it or it's just good luck, but I'm resigned to being beaten by Liverpool, but hopefully today we can pull a rabbit out of the hat, my man. We also have the one and only Matty Hayes in the house. Big up, Matty. Hopefully you're keeping well. Hopefully the new career path in the F1 is serving you well, my man. Hopefully you're making waves in that, just like you did here with Spurs in the Tottenham community. Good to see you, Matty. I'm wishing you and your family a very happy Christmas, my man. We also have Chris Antonio in the house. Good to see you. We also have Jet Fleet. Dave's intro always goes hard. No, I really appreciate that, my man. Appreciate it. We also have Shane in the house. David, Shane here. I'm back in Ireland. I landed yesterday. Would be great to meet you for a point if you're free over the next month. Look, my man, no problem at all. Get in contact with me. If you have my number, just message me. If not, Instagram, Twitter, or my email address. It's all in the description below, my man. Get in contact. Now, I don't drink, so it's a bit like going to the pub with a child. I will have a glass of Coke, and I'll happily sit there and dissect all of Tottenham's problems with you, Shane. Let me know, my man. Big yourself up. We also have Donovan Oosterreicher in the house. Big up, Donovan. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well today. It's the biggest game of the season, not just for our club, but in the league. We're the only team that has the potential of upsetting Arne Slot's marvellous Liverpool side. We have the best attack in the league. Look, what I will say is the last two games heading into this, I think they were, was it drew with Newcastle, drew with Fulham? So there is a bit of sort of form there that maybe we can hopefully capitalise on. What I will say is, though, they haven't lost an away game under Arne Slot. So, it's going to be a difficult test, Donovan. But look, let's see how we get on, my man. Good to see you in the house. We also have Mr. Brooks. Gats, come on, you Spurs. Good to see you. We've got the ultimate happy clapper in the house. Leighton Evelyn, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have Brecon in the house. Big up, Brecon. Says big up, Dave, Jack, Andrew, Dermatron. Excited but nervous for the game. I think everybody's probably feeling like that today, Brecon. Good to see you in the house. We also have Foggy Phone. Big up the panel and chat. Perfect week so far. Midweek game was special. I know Liverpool game is so hard, so I'm not invested on it. Come on, you Spurs. Look, we'll get into the midweek one, and I want to start off with that when we get into the boys, because some are saying, Tottenham only capitalised on United's situation. Look at the situation they're in. But then, some like me would argue, I think we put in a very good performance on the night overall. I think Fraser Forster's mistakes, gifted them away back into the game. That you can't legislate for that. But overall, I thought we were really good on the night. So we're going to get into that, Foggy Form, see how people sort of think. We've got Limpy down under. It's a big game, so big time player. Kulu to start for us. Look, he's been absolutely sensational this year, and that's why I was advocating not to sell him over the summer, or even last season I was saying he's got to get in the team. You've got to look at the footwork. It's sensational. He needs better players around him to link up with, and I think this season, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Big up Faz Radfar, 4-1 Spurs. Big up my favourite channel. Should be 4-3 after Thursday night. Hope you're well. Believe me, Liverpool is as worried about us as we are about them. I can see 4-1 Spurs win. Watch this space. Well, look, that's an interesting take on the game, my man. I would argue, I do think there's probably a little bit of an element where they worry about us, because you look at us, we do turn up against the big teams this season. Leighton says, be for real, our squad got injuries and playing the best team in the country. Be real, we ain't winning. Look, I don't think anyone's not being real. I think we've all expressed our concerns heading into today's game, Leighton. That it is an uphill battle. So I don't think anyone's not being real here, Leighton. What I would say is you're the one not being real. You just want to let your inner happy clapper out. I know you do, so just let it out, man. Just let it out, Leighton. We've got Joe Blogs in the house. Evening, gents. We are playing some sensational football. Look, we're playing some good stuff at the minute. Hopefully we can transcend today. We've also got Josh Wiff Robertson starts. We can cook. Look, let's wait and see. We've got Paddy Harnett. Good to see you, Paddy. Afternoon, folks. I can see nothing but a loss today, but here's hoping we hammer the Dippers, put them back in their box, up the strawberry pickers. Big up, Paddy. Look, it'd be nice to Paddy. Really, really nice to humble them. But I think we all agree it's definitely an uphill battle today. We've got Jack Bloom in the house. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have from Perth. Yeah, no problem, my man. Like I said, get in contact and we'll get it sorted out. Like I said, I don't drink. I will have a glass of Coke with you, though. And look, you can drink. You can have a drink. It's not like I say, you can't have a pint while we're sitting there. Of course you can. I just prefer to have Coke, my man. Hits the taste buds better. We have Michael says, I think a victory today with all of our injuries and after big game on Thursday would be a bit of a miracle. Got to go for it early to get the crowd going. I think, look, when you see so many players out injured and that, and fatigue always sort of kicks in, you look at our second halves of games in recent times, we've got to go at it the first half, and we've got to take our chances when they present themselves. If this goes into the second half at Liverpool in the balance, I think it becomes a long second half. So let's wait and see what happens. Big up Spurs GCTV. Good to see you, my man. He says, have faith. You know me, I always hold a little bit of optimism inside me. We've got Stevie Fraser. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says, big up, lads, in chat. Let's smash the bin dippers. We've got Rooty Toot in the house. Big up all. Slot adjust tactics during the game. And Ange doesn't. This might be the deciding factor, I'm afraid. Look, very well could be. Let's wait and see what happens today, my man. What I would say is that Arne Slot has walked into a team with established superstars. That's won everything that has been in the game in terms of club football. You know, his job was a lot easier walking into Liverpool than what Postecoglou's was walking into Tottenham. You know, Slot walked in with something to build off, and that's probably why he turned down the Tottenham job. He didn't fancy coming into the Premier League and trying to go for a whole rebuild, which Ange took on. So I think, look, going to be difficult today, but let's wait and see what happens. We also have Max, the data engineer. Good to see you. Come on, Spurs, do it. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We have Chance and Kuba in the house. Great to see you, as always. We have Mungie 32. Great to see you, as always. Lee Neri, great to see you, my man. Party after party. Derek Hutchinson, big up there, boy. Great to see you. Who else have we got? We've got Wembley 1 afternoon, everyone. Arne Slot's initial tactical masterclass was shown by him clearing, wanting absolutely nothing to do with working under that clown Levy last summer. Yeah, that was his biggest, decision, to be fair, and that's the one he got right at Liverpool. His job was always going to be, easier. Alberto, good to see you in the house. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have, there is a chance, Manor Solomon moves to Tottenham in the winter transfer window. Well, he's already Tottenham's players, whether we want to call him back or not. I don't think we will. I think we've loaned them out for a reason and probably will look to bring someone else in the market. Fat Tony, think happy thoughts, everyone. We're more than able to win this one. Good to see you, Fat Tony. Hopefully you're keeping well. Big up, Ginola. Good to see you. Good job. Schools have finished for Xmas. Our kids on bench can focus on the footy. Absolutely spot on there. Big up, DB. As always, great to see you, my man. As always. And then we've also got Boucher. Says, don't give Salah space. He only needs half a yard. His speed to get a shot off cannot be underestimated. Well, look, that's where we're going to have a conversation about potentially going with a double pivot today and getting both double pivots out towards the fullback. So I've done a predicted lineup on it to get out there and sort of double up and help them, because with Destiny Udogie, not only do you have Mo Salah, you've got Trent Alexander making them overloads as well. So it's going to be a very difficult evening for him. So, you know, you need someone to double up and get back. Are you going to task it with Sonny, who, quite frank, is not going to be able to do it at that intensity against Liverpool for 90 minutes, especially with the effort he put in Thursday night? Or do you then go with a double pivot and make it easier for your fullback to get out and almost keep Son high up the field and look to exploit the space in behind Liverpool with that their fullbacks leave? But look, you know, maybe Ange needs me to get on for his tactics. You don't know. A big up, Brett. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Let's bring up everything everybody needs to know, and then we've got a couple of chats there from Dark Song G there to kick us off, and we'll get going. So, of course, the game is played at the greatest stadium in world football. That is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kickoff is at 4:30 p.m. today. As they say, they saved the best till last. Referee is Sam Barrett. In the VAR room, it is Paul Tierney. On the TV, you can watch it on Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland. In the USA, it's on NBSN. And then in Australia, it is on Optus Sports. In terms of injuries, of course, no Van de Ven, De Boer, Richarlison, Davies, Bentancur, Vicario, Romero, and Liverpool are only without Conor Bradley and Konate for today's game. So that's all the injury news for everybody. Let's start with Dark Zone G. Super Chat says, come on, you Spurs. Let's get 2 home wins in a row versus Liverpool or Liverpool, which, look, hopefully that doesn't ring true today. I hope Son scores like he does against Liverpool. Also, I hope Dom scores against his former club. Jack, 2 players coming into this game full of confidence, right? Dom Solanke off the brace, Sonny off that magical, what do they call it, Olympico. I just thought it was scoring directly from a corner. But, you know, off that Olympico, you know, the players are coming in here full of confidence today. And look, it's one of them games, Jack, where Liverpool, I think, have the best defence in the league. They don't give away much. So when the chances present themselves, we have to take them today.
I think if we had any chance of going into this game with any semblance of confidence, or especially for these players, like, I think they had to probably get over the line against Manchester United. I understand they had to pretty much leave everything out there, but you do get that maybe sense of confidence, that sense of maybe validation after getting that win against Man United, so that you can go into this game maybe with the shoulders relaxed a little bit more, probably expecting that the fans will be more behind you. So this should be, I think, a game where the players will go into it maybe relatively confident. But Solanke, Dark Sun G, you and I have been big fans of his. I've been a big backer of his. I'll be honest, I think I've tried my best to be somewhat balanced, despite being obviously very balanced, you know, in favor of him. But I think that goal he got against Man United was a goal he really needed. I thought that was so well taken, really crucial goal as well at a really clutch time to score that. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully Dom just kicking off from here, because I think he's had really good performances. He's just not getting the goals. I think it's down to service, but whatever you might think it's down to, it's good to see it. And then just quickly on Sonny, Dave, and Dark Sun G, I actually think Sonny really stepped up in the last game. To be honest, I think Kulusevski, despite getting his goal, I don't think he was as influential as he could have been. I think Madison was also missing kind of in that game for large periods. We were saying we need one of these big guys to step up. I think Sonny was actually the more creative player than both of them on that day. I think Sonny was probably our chief creator in terms of, making moments happen, get, little openings here and there, just being that sort of guy that was willing to try things, basically. And I thought Sonny was really good on the day, actually. I think he can play even better than that. But to be honest, I think he stepped up more than even Madison or Kulusevski did in the last game, if you ask me. So huge day for Sonny and huge day for Dom Solanke, our favorite players.
I also think Son was absolutely excellent out of possession against Manchester United. In recent weeks, he
got stuck in,
escaping a little bit, not tracking back and stuff like that. I thought against United he was absolutely phenomenal out of possession, getting after the ball, chasing it down, getting back, helping out the fullback. I thought he was brilliant out of possession as well against United. Big up Dark Sun G, really appreciate the support, brother. And he also comes in to say, we give teams their first loss this season, Villa first away loss, and City first loss this season. So hopefully we can do the same to Liverpool. City keep losing. Yeah, we started that, didn't we? I think they picked up points in 3 games in like the last 12. So it does go to show that injuries do affect your ability to be able to win games. And if Pep Guardiola is struggling at Man City, then how do we not expect Postecoglou to a degree to struggle at Tottenham with injuries? But Drew, on to you, my man, with this one. Some maybe are looking at it like Jack. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I think DB said it in the chat there as well, that maybe today is a little bit of a free hit, but I would maybe ask the question off the back of it. Instead of it more being a free hit, is it one that could make or break our Champions League aspirations, considering where we are in the table, the point gap that we got to try and close? How do you see today's game? Do you think we can beat Liverpool? Oh, you're on mute, lad.
I think you're on mute.
Certainly can. I worry a little bit about the squad, how thin we are at the moment. The fact that they're almost at full strength. That would be my only concern. But in isolation, on it's one of those any given Sunday kind of vibes. It's certainly possible. I think honestly today, I think they would have to have a little bit of an off day, and we're going to have to be absolutely on our game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm interested to see, like you said earlier on, with the double pivot being able to cover. My concern with that is if the pivot splits too much and you end up just dropping deep. The last thing I want is for Liverpool to just be, putting us under the cosh at our own place for 45, 60 minutes. So I don't know. We shall see. I'm cautiously optimistic. The way it is at the moment, I just like to see a good performance, and I just hope we get through unscathed any more than we already are. Because if we lose any more people, we're going to start to be, really feeling it in the next couple of games. And I think the next couple of games are arguably more important.
Well, look, you're in huge trouble, right? When you're bringing on Sergio Reguilon, for a couple of minutes just to get players, off the pitch and that. And you're right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing today is trying to get through unscathed. You look at the bench the other night, and this is where, we're going to get into it a bit later on, but this is where I don't disagree, where people start going after Postecoglou Thursday night. It's sort of like, what do you want the guy to do? He's got like Johnson off the bench. That's it. He's the only sort of senior player he can bring off the bench. So, but look, big game today. In terms of the double pivot, more so, rather than him getting forward and attacking today, more so sit in there and help protect Destiny, Doji, and Porro. But like if we're
absolutely,
then obviously get your wingers to track back and help for sure. Big up Dark Sun G, really appreciate the support, brother. And then we've got this one from Swell Dormo. He says the players I'm worried about is Jota and Elliott, to be honest.
Yeah, I am. Jota and Elliott are 2 very good players, by the way, and Jota's the one that worries me the most out of the pair of them. But look, we just got to deal with them, and I think we will, as long as our midfield tree, whoever that midfield tree is, be disciplined, marks their man, and looks after them. I don't think we should have any problems. It's all about being disciplined today and just concentrating on the road. You look at Liverpool, you look at the likes of Jota and Elliott. they perform very highly because they're disciplined in the positions they're playing. We've got to be disciplined today and not like, just really keep concentrating on the jobs we got. But Jota's the one that worries me. I think he always scores against us, him and Salah. And it's just, please, for today, just mark him out of the game. But it's down to Basuma and Biss in the mid for 3 and the wing backs as well, to everyone to do their job. And, it's not just Jota and Elliott. The whole Liverpool team's dangerous. They're the only consistent team in the Premier League, in my opinion.
You look at the likes of Diaz, Gakpo, they're also on 9 goals, let alone, trying to contain Mo Salah. You got Szoboszlai sometimes operates in that number 10. It's going to be a very difficult evening. And look, we've got to try and contain them as best as we can today, Dark Sound G. But you know what? For me, sometimes I just feel like the best way is to go after them, unsettle them, rather than actually sit off and show them respect. So let's see what we decide to do today. I think, to a degree, I think we might go after them a little bit, especially in the first half. Let's wait and see what happens. We'll just welcome a few more people in. We'll also welcome Søren in a second as well. Good to see you, my man. We've got Vendel. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Alpesh Patel, my man. Hopefully Spurs can keep you awake with some entertaining football today, my man. Big yourself up and enjoy the game, lad. And we've also got Iceman in the house. He says, good afternoon, all and everyone in the chat. Going to be a tough game today. We definitely need to take our chances today. I'm going to too. Look, we've got to be clinical. In recent weeks, we've missed absolute sitters in big games. Today, we've got to be absolutely clinical, Iceman. A big up, Scotty Hynam. Good to see you. Søren, how are you this evening, lad? Or this afternoon?
Too bad. Looking forward to the game. Still on a high, so we're
free hit for you, or is it a free hit for you today? Some people are saying it's a bit of a free hit. Do you think it's a free hit today, or does this make or break Tottenham's aspirations for top 4?
No and no. I don't think it's a free hit. I mean, everybody probably expects us to lose, but I don't think there should be any reason not to want to go and win it still. Look, Liverpool are a great team. They're doing great things this year, but they have had a little bit of a wobble. So we should be coming out on a high now. Look, we're depleted still. We've got a lot of players out, but the confidence in that team should be pretty high. So for me, it's just go after them. Look, I see what you mean with a free hit. Nobody's expecting us to win, but that's all the more reason to go bloody win. So let's just go and do it. No resting on our laurels. Look, the quad is on. Forget about top 4. The quad is on still, baby. If we go and win Liverpool today, it's another 3 points they've lost. So we're closing in on them. Let's start to believe it's Christmas. Come on.
We've already got a miracle this week. We won 2 games of football back to back. Got into a semi-final of a cup. So look, it'd be interesting to see what the atmosphere today is like. Do fans come in believing that we can get a result, or do fans, because there is protests organised today, which we'll get on to as well. And, I think that is set to carry on into the stadium with Levy out balloons and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting whether to see the atmosphere around today's game as well, what it's sort of like. It'd be a very interesting day, actually. Daxon G says the players I'm worried about. Oh, we've already got to that. Sorry, Dax.
I don't think we did, actually. I think we went to Søren before.
No, we did. I gave that one to Dermo. Dermo answered.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Daxon G says the good thing is Bentancur ban is over after today. Come on, you Spurs. And look, that's the big thing. But if I'm correct, I think, if he gets suspended against, if he picks up a yellow against Forest on Stevens' day, then I think he's out for the game after that. Very quickly suspended due to accumulation of yellow cards. So, look, the good thing is he's back, and it'll be all hands on deck. And hopefully, give Basuma a big kick up the ass. He was brilliant against United the other day. But, with Bentancur coming back, hopefully it sort of keeps Basuma at a certain level, knowing that there's competition for his spot now. Faz Radfar 4-1 Spurs says no individual errors and we will win comfortably. Look, that's the big thing. But as we seen Thursday night, we could be 3-0 up and someone's going to make an error somewhere, to make the job difficult. So let's wait and see what happens. Faz Radfar, big up though. And then Dark Sunji also says, today is a good test run before our semi-final versus them in January. And that's it. I think it's a good dress rehearsal. We're going to have a bit of a conversation about that, because I do think today, for me, is laying down a little bit of a marker and letting them know that when they come here in January, it's not going to be an easy place for them to come. They're going to have to be on it. So big up Dark Sun G. We'll definitely get into that. It is a bit of a dress rehearsal for sure. But guys, I do want to start today's show though by sort of just quickly on Thursday night, because with 10 first team players missing, and I don't like the reaction from, I don't think we've got enough credit that we deserve. I don't like the reaction from many of the pundits, Gary Neville during that game, Carragher and the likes of Redknapp after, Jamie O'Hara, people like that after. So with 10 first team players missing, how impressive is it that Spurs still managed to overcome Man United? Some say that this highlights the resilience of the squad, but some are saying it's simply a result of United's own struggles. Drew, we'll start with you. How do you see it?
I mean, probably a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to the pundits. I think personally, my opinion is that just because you played football doesn't mean you get the right to go and talk about it after your career's over. They're very, very biased for my liking, and I can't pay them any attention really. As far as the actual team, I mean, Man United have been disjointed for longer than we have, right? So they've got Amorim, the new manager. I personally think the game was a little bit more evenly balanced than I think some people saw it. I think we had our moments. We had good spells in the first half. We had a good spell at the start of the second half. And then obviously, as we've touched on, Fraser with those couple of errors. My concern is that when the couple of errors happened, we went from looking like we were very capable to looking like there were 9 or 10 players out there that didn't have a clue what a football was. And that's my concern. We still don't have anybody that can, and I know obviously because the transfer window, but there's nobody that just grabs people by the scruff of the neck and tells everybody to calm the hell down. Do you know what I mean? It's just, they all seem to be like deer in the headlights as soon as anything tends to go wrong. The plus side, we got through it. Had that been in the league, I don't know that Sonny's corner would have stood, because I think Bergvall got across the keeper, and I think
we're not having that, Drew, surely.
No, I honestly, I think in the Premier League, I think VAR might have
given what they've let go over the last season.
Yep,
I think that
it's all right saying that. Drew,
that's just my opinion.
One of their goals.
No, and that's why I'm just giving my opinion on what I think might have happened.
How dare you?
If it had been the league, right? That's all. Sorry, guys. So
one of their goals would have been. One of their goals would have been.
That might have been the case. Fair play.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, But anyway, I think both teams on the night could have won. I think we managed to get through in spite of ourselves. We kind of got ourselves together. Sonny's goal obviously helped. But yeah, we'll see. Today is a completely different ball game. Liverpool are leaps and bounds ahead of both of us. The one thing I just want to bring up, just as the one thing that's crazy about football, is that we've got 36 goals and we've conceded 19. Chelsea have got 37 goals and conceded 19. There's one goal difference between the two of us, and yet somehow we sit 9 points off of them. I just find that stat.
They spent like £2 billion on a squad.
But I just find that stat baffling, right? Regardless, it's basically
our season versus theirs, basically.
Yeah, it's just the way that goals have fallen, the way that they've scored one more goal than us and conceded the same amount, and yet somehow they've managed to be 9 points ahead.
Yeah.
So I just find that baffling.
Yeah,
that is mad when you think about it. And considering they've got a pretty young squad, they do seem to have the capability of getting results over the line more so than what we do, which I think maybe a discussion to have.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it goes to show that the second half of the season, if we can get our players back, if we can get everybody actually fit, if we can maybe add a couple of bodies in January, if we could maybe get the rub of the green that we haven't been getting the first half of the season. Who's to say that couldn't be us? I'm not writing off anything. Like Soren said, the quad is on. If you're not going to believe, you might as well give up now. So Yeah.
I was saying this to my dad the other day. I was like, maybe getting to the semi-final, salvaging the semi-final out of this first part of the season with all the injuries and what's gone wrong and stuff, probably, could be a blessing in disguise. And you never know. We could pick it up come the second half of the season. And that's where you want that form, is the business end of the season, not the first 10, 15 games. We've done it in seasons gone by. We haven't been able to sustain it. Maybe this season could be a bit different. We might pick up form at the right time coming into the back end of the season. I definitely agree with that for sure. But look, that's all if buts and maybes. Let's wait and see. But Soren, I know you're itching to come in. I know Drew has sparked there. He's absolutely triggered Drew there with what he was saying about, Son's goal in the Premier League would have been disallowed.
I said I think it might have been.
This is a contentious issue because we've been arguing about how goalies are protected all season with Vicario and, last season, and how we say Vicario should have had free kicks or goals shouldn't have been allowed to stand. It would have been an interesting one in the Premiership for sure, because if it had have been disallowed, then you've got to question some of the ones that went in against Vicario. But saying that, the Xerxes goals probably might not have been standing because he was inside the box. Now, that's our fault for kicking the ball at the point he's still in the box. So I don't know, but there was an interesting one, and I've just seen somebody else has mentioned it in the chat, that it wasn't the first time we tried that. Madders had a go from the corner earlier. And it was almost as if they either done some homework on the goalie or they'd seen something at some point, because that was the second or maybe the third time they'd tried to go in from the corner. But I just think it's about time we stopped saying, well, if this happened, if that happened. We don't know, because the game has gone. We've won it. We're through. I don't give a shit about Man United anymore. We've beat them. And
why don't you think we get the praise we deserve then? And even from some of our own... Look, even from Spurs fans, everyone's like, "Oh, it's getting angry after it." All the reaction from the public after.
You listen to Carragher and Neville. I mean, they're coming from a defender's point of view anyway. Were we naive? Yeah, of course we're naive. That's the way we play, mate. That's the way we play. Let's just move on. And we're going to talk about the same things all season. Same things as we spoke about last season. And look, one of the best things that Ange came out and said afterwards, and I know it riles some fans, but were we not entertained? We had that game, we cocked the game up ourselves. Man United didn't come on to us and score goals because they were brilliant. We let them score goals. Let's not forget that. Had we not had them two mistakes, they would not have been in that game. Full stop. So all we've got to do, and I know it's a big all we've got to do, is stop making the bloody mistakes. If we stop making the mistakes, we probably would be where Chelsea are now. The problem is we let teams back in from our own mistakes. Everybody goes on about, we're getting overrun by this and we're getting up. You name me one team that has actually demolished us this season. There isn't a team that's demolished us. And as long as that keeps going, yeah, we might lose by one goal. We might lose 4-3, 5-4, 3-2, whatever. But we're never out of any of the games, other than the fact of, as a team, we suddenly start going into our own shell. If we could keep up the pressure for a full 90 minutes, I'm not saying we'd be top of the league, but we wouldn't be far off it. That's the big difference. It's us cocking it up ourselves.
No, 100%. I definitely agree with that. It's self-inflicted. And hopefully, as this squad grows together, hopefully some of them mistakes sort of start ironing itself out and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I think bar the mistakes, I think, they would have had to have different conversations about Tottenham, that we've gone and absolutely rollicked United like that in a cup quarter final. I think a lot of it would have been, hang on, are we seeing maybe a slight mentality shift here at Tottenham Hotspur? Usually they buckle in these sort of games. It's just a shame that the mistakes came about the way they did. But Jack and Dermot, I want to sort of pose a different sort of question to you guys, because it did feel like after the game, that Carragher and Redknapp, and even in the interview, I think Postecoglou sort of alluded to it when he's shoulder up there saying that I've no tactics and stuff like that. I mean, I don't subscribe to it. The media fans, they constantly criticize Postecoglou's tactics. But considering we finished 5th last season, despite an injury crisis and a significant squad turnover, this season Postecoglou has kept Spurs in the hunt for top 4, reached the Carabao Cup semi-finals by beating Man City and Man United along the route, and kept the team competitive in the Europa League, all while managing a severe injury crisis. When you step back and actually look at the bigger picture, does this not highlight that he does actually have tactical acumen? Like, you have to have tactics to be able to walk into the Premier League and finish 5th in the first season and navigate what he has, and this season.
I think you have to have tactics to go 3-0 up in the manner that we did. And also as well, I mean, to be honest, like, I can't even really name much of a chance that like we really conceded before, Forster gave up those mistakes anyway. So it's really not like United were really on the door or anything like that. It's not like they were really knocking, in any sort of manner that was making us nervous. In fact, I actually was expecting us to push on for 4 or 5 before we ended up actually conceding those goals via Forster. But Dave, I don't think like with Ange Postecoglou, I just don't know when we're going to really get any sort. It feels like people are in their camps. It feels like people are very entrenched with how they feel about the guy, because there are times when I think you could have arguments over whether he's gotten tactics wrong, whether they could be too gung-ho. But I think at this point, people are just kind of picking and choosing when it sort of suits maybe a narrative or when it sort of suits like, whatever they might feel about the guy. Because again, the score line is the one that maybe tells you, oh, what a basket case of a game. But if, in my opinion, I think we are, as we always say, I think everyone's entitled to how they feel about football and their opinions. That's what we endorse here. But I really was baffled by the fact that people were saying that there was no game management. There was, the loss of heads in the game and things like that. It really was just down to one player. And that one player made everyone else nervous. It made the whole stadium nervous. And that's okay. I think we actually battled through that the best way we could. And I think we did get through it in a pretty convincing manner. And to be honest, I don't even think Man United really knocked on the door as much as they could have to try to go on and win the game. We still were also punching back, and we still were also trying to create chances. To be honest, I just don't really know what to say anymore with Ange Postecoglou and the tactics. I think there are plenty of times when it feels a bit, gung-ho. It does feel like, it's definitely on the very far edge of very attacking and very high line. But to be honest, I think at this point, a game like that, we should have been up 4 or 5-0. It was all down to Forster. And the fact that everyone seems to think that Ange Postecoglou kicked the ball into his own net 2 or 3 times, just, I don't know, Dave. I think it's become way too entrenched, because I think there are games. I think you and I have said that there have been games where you could say that, yes, like tactics might have been a bit, maybe, I don't know, too gung-ho, or wasn't enough game management, or substitutions were wrong. This was just not one of those games for me. This was absolutely not one of those games. So that's why I am a little bit perplexed and just feeling like people are just entrenched with how they feel about Ange.
No, look, when we've got a bench available to us, I think it's a fair criticism. Some of our games in games, tactical adjustments or substitutions. I think that's a fair criticism. But the big perception and people sitting there just laughing at the guy saying that he's got absolutely no tactics whatsoever. I mean, I just think it's absolutely madness. But Dermo, is Postecoglou right to stick to the way he's playing? Because it's alien to a lot of people. But I actually come across an interview that Pep Guardiola done in his first season at Man City. And they told him playing out from the back in the Premier League's not going to work. You've got to adjust. You've got to, adjust your tactics and everything else. And he said, no. He says, if I didn't think this was going to give me the outcomes that I need longer term, I wouldn't be asking my players to do it. We're going to get a lot more benefits longer term doing this than the shorter term mistakes that we're seeing within what I'm asking them to do. But eventually we'll get it right. And longer term, you're going to get the rewards. So why, I think Postecoglou is a bit similar. Everyone's going, this is never going to work. It's crazy, this, that, and the other. And he keeps going, look, short term, you might have to take a bit of pain, but long term, there's going to be a lot of gain. Do you subscribe to that?
I do. I don't think Ange should change his philosophy, or Ange should change how he sees the game. We shouldn't. He shouldn't. He should stick to his guns. I don't think it's right he sticks to his guns. We all asked for entertaining football after Mourinho, Conte, and Nuno, and now we're saying the football we're playing is too gung ho. It's too forward. We're too exposed at the back. Well, we're sort of damned if we do and damned if we don't. We can't have everything we wanted. Everyone's looking for the perfect football to play the perfect match, and you can never play the perfect match. Not even Man City can play perfect game after game after game. Look, in the years they were consistent, not this season, but last season before. It took them a while to get going, but Pep never went away from his philosophy, and Ange shouldn't either. And a very quick, just talking point on the goals, Sonny. Sorry, Dave, I just wanted to make a comment on that quickly. Look at Burnley and Luton last year when the keeper, when there was a goal, I think against Burnley, the keeper come out and he thought he was fouled. I think that goal on Thursday, nothing wrong with it. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that goal. It may have been looked at by VAR, but if you're going to chalk off that goal, then you have to be consistent. VAR isn't consistent for anything, and I think we won. And if you win playing that way, then your name's on the cup, I think. And the last time we beat Man United in 1999, we went all the way to Wembley and beat Leicester 1-0 in the final. So I think Ange has to stick to his guns. And we were entertained because Ange sticks to his philosophy. Let the man manage. Let the man do his job. We always complain. We're never happy. Let's just enjoy what we've got, because the next manager could be a Mourinho or a Conte, and we've bored out of our skulls again. And we were going back, do you remember the times we played under Ange? Some of them are going back to the Poch years. Poch played attractive football. So let Ange manage. He's our manager. Let's back him. Let's get behind him and stop criticising the man. Let him do his job, and let's play the Tottenham way, which he's doing.
And the thing is, we actually had this discussion yesterday about Poch over on Tifo. The thing is with Pochettino, when he walked in here, he had a lot of the pieces to his team already here at Tottenham Hotspur, which meant once Alderweireld, we signed Dembele, we signed Wanyama, we signed, I think Sonny came in under Pochettino as well. So we added quality to that, but the basis of the players and that were already here at Tottenham, and just having to come in and build it. So it's going to take a little bit longer. But big up, Ellie. Good to see you in the house. Hopefully you're keeping well. And then I just want to take this quickly. Says Ange not instructing these players to stop playing out from the back is his fault. If your player makes a mistake in doing it, it is your decision to relieve that pressure by telling them not to. Look, first of all, to suggest that Ange should stop what's got us up to 3-0 in the first place is absolutely madness. If it's got you there in the first place and you're absolutely cruising, you don't change anything. It's absolutely madness too. You keep doing what's worked. You're just hoping that your players show a bit of composure and, not only that, but stay switched on. Stop making sloppy errors, passes, stuff like that. And look, when the first one did happen, that second one, if you think that Ange hasn't, if you think that's on Ange Postecoglou, you're sadly mistaken. Fraser Forster went to clear it long. He didn't go to pass it out from the back. He went to clear it long, and Diallo got the block on it. So Fraser Forster had already made the decision to go long. And this is where I think, you got to stop blaming Ange Postecoglou for absolutely everything. To say, he hasn't told him to go long. Maybe he didn't, but Fraser Forster already knew he had to go long and still made that mistake. So, this is where I think there's got to be a bit of fairness around the situation. Yeah. Can't keep blaming absolutely everything on the manager. We're going to get on to Fraser Forster in just a moment. I do have some more questions though that I do want to crack on with. And Jack, we'll come back round to you after an impressive win over Southampton and Man United. Do you believe Spurs are starting to maybe gain a little bit of momentum, or is it too early to get excited or even say that, given the inconsistent run we're on beforehand?
I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I'm just happy that the team have been able to battle through this. Really, Dave, you and I looked at this month. This was going to be a brutal, brutal month. We have no players. We have the most busy fixture period we were going to come across. It was going to be rough. It was going to be tough. And the last two wins have come at a very crucial time and have come at a very necessary time. So I'm kind of just relieved, to be honest. I think I'm just happy that Spurs were able to get over the line in those games, and maybe some of the other ones this winter period. But I can't really say whether, is this going to build, a winning streak or anything like that. I'm not really there yet. I'm just really proud of the boys, and I'm really proud of the team for getting through the past two games. I understand Southampton, was Southampton, but we still beat them pretty much in the most convincing way I think a team could beat them. So at the end of the day, we did it how everybody would have wanted us to. And then the Man United game was probably the biggest game of the month. I think we all looked at that game as the one that we were probably putting the most heart into, the most emotion into, the most value into, and we got over the line, and we did it, in my opinion, very convincingly. So I think this is just good for the team, good for the players, good for the vibe and the chemistry around the place, but it doesn't really inspire us to go on a winning run or anything like that, kind of like your question suggests. I'm not really there yet. I think we have to still see a bit more. Don't get me wrong, though. I really believe in Ange. I really believe in this team in general, but I still expect us to probably slip up every now and again, especially still with all the injuries.
No, 100%. Look, the good thing is we got a bit of light relief before Christmas and we salvaged a cup semi-final out of it. Let's see if, we can sort of build on that today. Big up Mark Cook, member for 12 months. Great to see you, my man. He says, afternoon, lads. Hope you're all well. We're all keeping well, man. How are you keeping, Mark Cook? Do let us know, my man. Absolute legend. Then we've got a follow-up from this person here as well. Says, who said playing out from the back got us to 3 goals? That's not true. I mean, playing out from the back is the way we play, and it's what put us in the 3-0 situation in the first place from the way we play. And then follows up and says also, Dave, what gets Ange his goals and what cost him his goals? Well, I disagree with that. What cost the goals, 2 of the goals against Manchester United was Fraser Forster. Not Ange Postecoglou. He's not out there playing. He's not out there with boots on, gloves on and stuff like that. He's only on the sideline. Fraser Forster is what cost us those goals. I get what you're saying in general. Sometimes the tactics can cost us goals and stuff like that. I get it. But Thursday night, that's just not the case whatsoever. I'm just not having people blaming Ange for that. I'm just sorry. Like it's madness. I think, I'm at a point now where everyone blames the manager for absolutely everything. I'm going to start standing up to it now. I'm just going to say, look, you can't keep, if you really want change at this football club, pinning everything on the manager is not the way to go around it, quite frank. At the end of the day, many people asked for backup goalkeeper in the summer. The club didn't do it. They decided to extend Fraser Forster's contract by a year. That's not Ange's decision, by the way. That's a club decision. That's what he has to pick with. If that's what comes back to bite him, that ain't his fault. That's the club's fault. But look, let's keep it moving, guys. Where am I in my pre-match build-up? Guys, what do we think the atmosphere is going to be like today, actually? Because today there is a protest organised ahead of kick-off across from the club shop at 3 p.m. about ENIC and Levy's ownership to highlight the fan dissatisfaction with the direction that the club are heading in football and matters. So I want to know sort of where maybe the panel are at with all this all together. Do you agree with those that argue that ENIC's financial approach is limiting Tottenham's potential? And do you think, it will maybe spark the board into life in January to get some signings in here? Whoever wants to take that away first, be my guest.
Look, I feel this process doesn't help us in one way with the fan base, because I think it takes away where we should be getting behind the team. We should be getting behind the manager. I feel these protests or these things before games doesn't help that, because everyone's got, everyone. We need everyone behind the team like we were on Thursday. Look, no owner or chairman is perfect in football, unless you're Chelsea, who spend $2 billion on every player that's coming out. Probably bought players when they were born. I think personally myself, I think Levy deserves credit for what he's done on the business side of the football club, for the stadium, for the infrastructure he's putting in. We're financially stable for the first time in our history for a long time. Yes, he's made mistakes. He hasn't backed managers, but look, no chairman's perfect. I'm not Angie. I'm not Levy in. I'm not Levy out. I sort of very much look at it at a bigger picture. So instead of everyone's entitled to go to a protest if they want, but if it was me, I wouldn't go. I'd just go and support the team and the boys, and leave the running of the football club to Levy. If he gets the right money for the club with the takeover biz that's happening at the moment, he will sell up. It's as simple as that. And also, people seem to forget they're an investment company. So ENIC will look to get back on their investment. They paid 21-something million for the club back in 2001, and they're looking to they could sell the club for $4.5 billion. So, for me, we just got to go and support the lads. If you want to protest outside the ground. Don't bring it into the ground. The ground, inside the ground, is for supporting the team and the lads 100%. But that's just my opinion. And a lot of people will agree with it, but it's how I feel and it's what I think.
I don't really agree. I don't think we've been winning enough games, to be honest, this year to sort of say that, it's going to detract from the atmosphere or anything like that. At the end of the day, we have been a team that's very much gone in the cyclical nature of sacking a manager every season and a half, pointing the finger at each other, the fan base, not really pointing the finger upstairs at the owners as much or at the players or anything. I think Levy has pretty much turned us into a very, very, very sort of, let's say tortured fan base, to be honest, in the past 5 or 6 years, basically, to be honest. And I think Dave and I, to be honest, we try to sort of bring up both voices, whether it's Levy in or Levy out. But I think, this season has been a very frustrating season because it does feel like Ange Postecoglou could have been building with a whole lot more. I think we were going into this season with a lot higher expectations that he was going to have a better squad available to him. He was going to have maybe more here and now signings brought through the door. And he's been, in my opinion, kind of left to dry, kind of left to hang, really. And he's having to do his best to try to push through this difficult period of injuries and whatnot. But I think once again, we're finding ourselves as a fan base pointing the finger at each other, pointing the finger at the manager, pointing the finger at the players. And it's all too familiar. It's all too much the same. So I think it's, kind of a good timing when it comes to, putting pressure on the owners. And another thing as well is just that at the end of the day, like, I do feel like these players, will probably just be incentivized by Daniel Levy, kind of a bad way or maybe a twisted way. If he knows that the pressure is coming on him today, if he knows that there will be protests, I wouldn't put it past Levy to maybe put some bonuses in maybe at the end of this month or something for them to get a win here today or something like that, to shut up the fans or to maybe stick it back to them. I just feel like, this is a good timing when it comes to the protests. If it detracts from the atmosphere, so be it. Like, we've had other games where they should have been well up for it, the fans, but they weren't, because they were frustrated about the team, nervous about, the opposition, whatever it might have been. And I think, we've had too many opportunities before maybe to have a big voice like this. And so I think it comes at the right time. Also, so many of the fan groups, the whatever, the Shelf, Dave, the Voices for Spurs, the Spurs song sheets, Tim Winston, all these guys, they're all like distancing themselves from the club right now. They all feel like the club doesn't stand for them anymore. They all feel like, they're not doing their part. They're not kind of shaking hands with the fan base. And I think it just kind of has to happen, whether it's good timing, bad timing, just sort of has to happen now. And, I think it will, probably send a message to Levy, but I wouldn't put it past Levy to incentivize these players to actually, try to win with some bonuses or something like that, because he's not a guy who likes this type of thing. And I think it's come at the right time.
I think it might
Just
be a
very
bit
quickly.
of a blessing.
Sorry, Dave.
I think it might be a bit of a blessing in disguise, actually, for Ange Postecoglou, because I think it will prompt them into maybe going and doing a little bit more in January than maybe what they intended. Because I think coming out the back end of the season with the trophies on offer, and that's what fans want. I think if I'm the chairman of the football club with all the protests around and I'm trying to sell off a proportion of the club, I try and go into that January market, bring in a couple of good players and sort of try and quell that noise and hopefully push the manager on to win a trophy. So I think for Postecoglou, I think actually this could be a blessing in disguise. In terms of overall, look, I think people are well within their rights. We had a chance this summer to kick on and we didn't do it properly. We went down the route of bringing in teenagers this is the problem in years gone by. And luckily, right now, Postecoglou hasn't paid the price for it. But genuinely, at Tottenham, managers do. And the biggest problem at Tottenham is we've had, 16 first-team managers in 23 years, not including all your interns. So to be fair, Levy does put up a decent budget. But every manager that comes in wants to buy 6-7 players out of that budget to make it spread to get his team together. And that's where your biggest problem is. At some point, we need stability in the dugout and continued investment behind the project to really kick on. And then, when you are making that budget spread over 7-8 players, it obviously decreases the value that you can pay for a player, decreases the quality you can bring in, which therefore lies your big problem. So, Levy's got to realize he's got to get behind the manager and really back it, a bit like what he did with Pochettino, to a certain degree. You want Alvarado, no problem. I'll go and get you, Toby. Look at the difference that made. That's what needs to happen here. In terms of the senior concessions, I think it's disgusting, to be quite frank. Look, if you're a businessman and you're a billionaire like Daniel Levy, and you're a really good businessman, you take all emotion out your business decisions, and that's what he's done there. But for me, I was always growing up on respect, respect your elders, and I do think, because we're all going to get old at some stage in life, and you're all going to need a dig out at that age, so I do think, the senior concessions hasn't helped them along the way. So I think the protests are justified, and hopefully, within, it changes the mindset around Tottenham Hotspur. Right, what do we need to do? Get all lines in head. What do we need to do to win? Because the blame game at Tottenham can't keep going, where the players are blaming the manager's blaming the transfer committee, the transfer committee's blaming the owners, and the owners are blaming the fans, and the fans are blaming everyone else. This blame game at Tottenham can't keep going. If we really want trophies, someone needs to grab it by the scruff of the neck and, start talking about and getting the best people in practice on how we're going to win. And to be honest with you, I think the only way that's going to happen is fan pressure. We see all these new business ventures and we're told it's going to be great for the club. And then you're like, okay, this one, fine. And then all of a sudden you're looking to kick on. We don't. We bring in more business ventures and we're still languishing around the same position. So naturally, fans are only going to get angry. And I think Daniel Levy this time around, he's got people that want Ange Postecoglou to be back January. So they're, annoyed at him because they feel like he was let down a little bit in the summer. And you've also got the people who have always had their problems with the ownership. So, and I think what you're seeing now is a merging together. So maybe the pressure might be good for Tottenham in the long run. Let's wait and see. Soren, Drew, any you want to have your say on that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways to look at this. And there's a few interesting comments in the chat as well. First of all, one thing that I hear said a lot is Daniel Levy, get out of our club. Technically, it's his club. He owns it. He's got ownership in it. It's not our club.
You are going to rattle the comments now, lad.
I don't care. Look, I say it myself. Don't get me wrong. Should Daniel Levy get out of our club? Yes and no. He has done fantastic things off the field. He's done absolutely nothing on the field. That's the problem. If he sells, he's going to sell to a businessman. Is a businessman going to start spending loads of money on the field? Probably not. If the Dallas Cowboy guy gets it, oh, we don't want him. Well, it's better than Levy. No, we don't want him. Look, you can't decide who's going to buy the club. We all like to think we're going to pick our next owner and they're going to come in and it's going to be a Cinderella story and he's suddenly going to chuck loads of money at the team. They're not. They're not. They're going to probably come in and do the exact same thing unless it's some Saudi guy or, Kuwait who just wants a plaything. And then in 5-10 years, they're going to ditch us and we could be in deep shit. Yeah, we'll have had 5 years maybe of great things, but there's no guarantees in football. Will the protests make a difference today? They're jack shit.
Do you not think it'll make a difference in terms of putting pressure on and getting stuff?
You're going to have maybe 50 to 100 people stood outside the stadium. If there was thousands and thousands, that's a different, all these people that want Levy out, they don't go and stand on them protest lines with the rest of them. All the ones that are, and I don't agree with it, but all the ones that are stood there, they're doing exactly what they're saying. They're doing exactly what they've promised. And all the other fans that are going on about we want Levy out walk straight past them and don't even look at them. Don't acknowledge them. So it's all empty promises from the fans as well. So where Dermot says put it outside and not inside, no, that's wrong. If you really want to make a difference, you've got to do it inside. Should we do it inside?
Well, I think that is extended inside today. They are getting them.
But what I'm saying is, though, should we be doing it inside? In my mind, there was a comment earlier saying, well, we're winning, we shouldn't. No, exactly the opposite. If you believe in the protest, you should be doing it when we're winning and not just when we're losing. Because if you only do it when we're losing, you're going to get slated by those that don't agree with you. Yeah. If you're doing it as a constant, then you are backing up your own words. You want Levy out, you do it whether we win, lose, or whatever. Is Daniel Levy going anywhere? He's not going to go until he's ready, until all of a sudden there's no other choice that he can see. Fan pressure ain't going to make it. He sat through that under Conte. He sat through that last year. All the fans booing and singing. What? 50 to 100 people stood outside the stadium now saying we want Levy out is going to make a difference to him. No, of course it's not.
Do you not think there will be more numbers today, Drew, or Soren? Sorry, because I do think, when you look at the large groundswell, that's going on out there, I do think there are more and more people that are frustrated with the ownership in one way or another. Like I said, even those that may not have, the long outstanding sort of problems with Daniel Levy, you still got people that are behind Ange Postecoglou and saying, look, he hasn't done enough to really kick on the project this year. So I actually think you might see a lot more turn up this time.
But look,
I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
It's one of those that, a couple of hundred people is not going to make a difference until there's thousands. And that just shows that the fan base, as much as people shout Levy out, they don't really 100% believe it because they're not stood on them protest lines with the others that believe in what they're saying. Now, you get somewhere. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am, some of the reasons that some people don't get on the protest lines down to certain people. I understand that. But if you honestly believe and you honestly want Levy out, you get on them protest lines and you stand with everybody else that is shouting about it loudly. Saying we don't want it in the stadium. I agree with that. I don't want to hear Levy out and all that rubbish. But half-time, full-time, bit different. Get it sung at half-time when the players are on the pitch. Get it sung at full-time. Get it sung before the match starts. But when the players are on that pitch, the only thing you should be doing, in my mind, my opinion, is supporting that football team. Any other time, do what you want. If you believe in wanting Levy out, get on the protest line with everybody else. Don't just stand there and put it in the on your keyboard. Oh, we want Levy out. Do something about it. Then maybe something might happen. But while there's a couple of 100 or 50, 60 people, because it's raining or it's cold or whatever reason, Levy don't give a monkey's shit. He does not give a shit. Sorry.
It's very quickly a bit like you look at the Man United, their glazer out. That is well organised and well properly done. Thousands turn up for that. I think, look, everyone's got their entitled opinion on Levy. Look, I agree with Soren. Half-time, full-time, got no problem. But for the 90 minutes, we've got to get behind the boys. And also, I think you can be Levy out in so many different ways. But I think the recruitment team needs to take responsibility for not buying the right players, for not backing Ange, because it's their job to get the players Ange wants. Levy gets the final word to sign the checks. Yeah, of course he does. It's the owner. But it's down with the same thing under Steve Hitchen. He never got the blame. Everybody else got the blame by Steve Hitchen. The recruitment team has to be better. And if you look when Paratici was there, Levy left it alone to Paratici. And look at the players we brought in under Paratici to the players we've brought in under Lang. Totally different. I think the recruitment team need to take some of the responsibility as well as Levy. I think everyone has to take their own responsibility. But for them 90 minutes, we have to get behind the teams. I respect anyone that wants to protest. I respect them fully.
I think this time it is slightly different because, like I said earlier, there are some very significant people who, in fact, have relationships or did have relationships with the club and have now since torn those relationships. Like people who would literally do work with the club have now actively called out Levy and have separated their ties with Levy. I think that will already be very different to previous protests and very different to previous demonstrations. And also at the end of the day, it does have to start somewhere. I appreciate Soren's point. Levy probably will just have earplugs in, if not even need earplugs really for these initial protests. But if they just continue to happen, like you say, win or loss, pressure, organization at the right times, I think eventually there will be more and more people that would be willing to participate, more willing to, have a say, have a participation in whatever protest that comes about. It just has to start somewhere. And it feels like this year, it's not as divided as maybe it has this is only my opinion, but it's not as divided as it has been before. In previous times with Levy out, there's a lot of accusations between fans. Oh, you're more Levy out, you're less Levy out, you're not Levy out enough, blah, 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 blah. And it turned into sort of this like self-eating, kind of, I don't know, whatever mechanism where we weren't really actually putting pressure on the owner. It felt like we were just more putting pressure on each other. Now it just feels like whether you're more Levy out, less Levy out, people are just fed up. People are angered. People are frustrated. And whether they're going to sing it louder than another person doesn't matter. People are going to be singing it. It feels like this time around. That's how I feel about it. And just quickly, Soren, it doesn't feel like it's going to be a couple of hundred people this time. It feels like it could be more. And just in general, people who might normally not voice leave out opinions are voicing leave out opinions. So it just feels a little bit different this time. It just feels like people are frustrated enough to participate, whether they would have last year or years before or not. It feels like people are just generally fed up and more in unison about it than before.
Yeah, the thing is, I think one big thing that I think people misunderstand, and especially from people like me, I am not Levy in. And most people that say things that might give Levy some credit are not necessarily Levy in, but they're not going to stand on the Levy out because we see some things that he has done good. I can't remember who it was. I think it was, I don't know. I don't know who it was. But it's not about getting Levy out or keeping him in. It's about getting Levy to give over the football inside. Let him get somebody in to actually run the football inside, and then you would probably see a better team on the pitch. Now, that can still happen under Levy. Levy could sell the club today, and it could be worse tomorrow. It could be better tomorrow. It's so hard to know what might happen. But just because you argue against those that are fully Levy out, doesn't matter what he does, whether he does any good or bad, whatever, it's Levy out. Doesn't mean you are Levy in. Doesn't mean you love him. Doesn't mean you are on his side. It just means you have a difference of opinion and you are not as bothered. I support Tottenham Hotspur football team, but I appreciate the business side of what he has done. Football today is not the same game it was 20, 30 years ago when it was all about on the pitch. It's not about, football should be about on the pitch, and I get that argument. But as a football club owner, it's about making the team sustainable. It's about making them self-sustainable. It's about making sure that team is here tomorrow and for generations, hopefully, to come. Daniel Levy has done that with our club. The one thing he has failed epically about is making it a winning team. And that's where every fan that is disillusioned with him is 100% spot on.
I think that's why it's different this time. I think it's about winning and losing. I don't think it's about the stadium. I don't think it's about, the Molten Brown, sponsorship. I don't think it's about anything that maybe people complained about before. I think it's very much just about a team that they expected to be pushing on this season, haven't been. Yeah. And I think they're just showing the same signs of frustration that they have in the past. So that's why I think it's far more simple this time around. I think it's far more simple.
Say for argument's sake, though, we go and win Liverpool in the semis, and we get to the final, and we meet Arsenal, and we beat Arsenal, and we've won that cup. Do you think the Levy out supporters are going to be happy? No, of course they're not. Oh, the only thing that they've lost then is, we've won a cup, so we've won another cup in this year. So they'll find something else to moan about. It's not about winning. It's got to the point now where fans are either blinkered one way or they're blinkered another way. It's not about winning and losing anymore. It's about making sure you were right at the end of the argument. That's all it's about now.
I don't think that's true with every fan. Like, I think if we were at the end of the day, we haven't won a trophy since 2008.
Diehards.
It's buts and maybes.
Yeah, look, it's that there will be certain people out there. If Ange's stacked, it's brilliant because we've got another number of managers in the last 20 odd years. If we go and win a cup, the other side is going to be, we've won a cup. You can't argue about that. If we come top 4 in the league, we've done this. You can't argue about that. I was being told at the beginning of last season that Ange wouldn't last the season. Then he wouldn't last till December. Then it was Christmas. Now it's January. Then it's February. And every month it's back and forth. He's still here. He's not. He's going to be here. He's going to be there. So everybody can fit an agenda to where they want. Should Daniel Levy go? If the right owner comes in, please go. Please go if the right owner comes in. We have no guarantees.
Even the songs, though, today, just last point, even songs, though, like, they're not necessarily even totally Levy out. They're just Levy frustration. They're just Levy pressure. Like, it's not even the case that all of them feel like everyone's saying, Levy out right now. I think people are just showing frustrations with Levy and calling out Levy, which is fine, which they should be doing, in my opinion. So I think that's what also makes these protests slightly different this time around. It's just that it doesn't feel like there's this need for it to be the exact message put across this way. It just feels like there's people out there who are frustrated with Levy, and they're going to be voicing their opinions about that, whether they're more or less Levy out than the person next to them. And that's what I think is going to be happening in the next few months.
Well,
just people putting pressure on him.
Well, look, let's get Drew in, let him have his say, and then we will crack on. Good discussion. I think, both you made your points very, very clear and very well, actually. Fair play to you. Drew, what's your opinion on all this? And then we're going to move on and talk about team selection and starting line.
To be honest with you, dude, so much been said by everybody, and there are so many different opinions.
Sorry, Drew.
I just move it on, man.
Fair enough.
Let's
Let's keep it moving. So, but good discussion. Really enjoyed that, guys. Sorry.
I just say sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize at all, lad. We're all here to give our opinions, my man. And, I enjoyed that conversation. I thought it was fascinating. You and Jack, I thought made your points very, very clear there, and it's very engaging. People in the comments really enjoyed it as well. And David L is saying, yes, Drew, right decision. So, look, Drew, we will start with you. Look, Fraser Forster today, I think many people are nervous off the back of what he produced against Man United. And also that other shot that came off him after the 2 goals and he kicked it away. He looked like a pub goalkeeper. People were saying it looks like when you ask your dad to fill in for goals for you on the Astro, and he ends up making a save. What do you think Postecoglou does today? Do you think he goes with Fraser? Because some people are saying, you should look at Austin. Maybe you should look at Whiteman. But to be honest, I don't think he will. I think he'll put Fraser back out there again.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, you got Vicario's not going to be back till at least the earliest February. He's not going to drop. He had a couple of horrible moments, and then for about 20, 25 minutes, clearly looked rattled. But you don't then drop him for an inexperienced goalkeeper and then not have him on side for, the rest of January, February. Do you know what I mean? I think you just have to put a nail in that coffin, man. It's done. He had a couple of, and you just have to hope that it doesn't affect him going forward, because that's a horrible thing, right? You just got to put him out there. Hopefully he's long enough in the tooth to be like, do you know what? Yes, I fluffed my lines. I think there's been a point made that Archie Gray went over to him after the game, and I think, if you read Archie Gray's lips, I think he basically takes it on the chin and was like, that's my bad. The pass was a little bit wayward. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. You just got to play him. We just got to hope for the best.
Do you think Forster is experienced enough to be able to put that behind him? Because if he's nervous today, this week, we could end up suffering what we did against Newcastle a couple of years back when, Hugo Lloris, is there that fear today?
I mean, I would like to think not. I mean, the dude's a former England international. Like, you would hope that he's got it in him just to be like, yeah, all right, no worries, and just get back out there and do it. I think the issue on Thursday night was a collective thing. I don't think it was just Forrester. I think all of a sudden when one went in, I think everybody started to go a little bit. And that's the problem. I think with us, everybody goes. So no, man, I just hope. I mean, I've got confidence in him until I see something that makes me not have confidence, and then I guess we'll have to just go from there, right? But until that happens, you're making me nervous, Dave. I was fine. You're making me nervous.
Look, the reason why I think, the conversation needs to be had is because Liverpool do have the second most highest turnovers in the league in terms of upping the opposition third. So they are going to look to press us when we have the ball around there. And when you've got Dragusin, he's going to look, some of them defenders at times are going to look to give the ball back to Fraser. And I'm just saying, if I'm a striker or I'm a winger in that Liverpool team, as soon as I see them even shape up for that, I'm on it, knowing that there's a chance to try and
to be honest. If I'm honest with you, Dave, I think we probably have issues in that regard in spite of Fraser Forster. Like, it's been playing on my mind the last few weeks. Like, we used to be a team that used to be really, really good at passing the ball around. Like, we could ping it around, one-touch pass and be very, very fluid. And that we seem far more erratic now, and it's almost like a dog. And you throw a couple of balls, and he doesn't know which one to go for, and he's all just a bit like. And I guess things take time, and but I brought this up a couple of weeks ago when it came to what was it? The Porro goal against Manchester City, where Solanke dropped it. So the ball was played to Solanke. The ball ran 10, 15 yards too far, and he ended up passing it back to Porro, who scored the third goal, I think it was.
Yeah.
That goal should have been Solanke's. That ball was played 10, 15 yards too far for him. And we do that on a continual basis. Our passing is always 3, 5, 7 yards wayward. It's never quite on point. So we're never quite where we're supposed to be. And I don't think that passing back to Forrester just because he's not used to having a ball played on the ground, I don't think it is solely his fault. You brought up a good point earlier on. He was going to go long for that second, the second ball. It's a collective thing. And I think we all just know, I say we, the players all just need to be a little bit sharper on the pitch. And I just don't know. I'm a little concerned that seems to have not that it's being coached out of them. It doesn't feel like it's being coached into them. Everything just feels a little bit wayward. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that comes with time or what, but I don't know. I'd like us to be a little bit sharper across the board. It's not just about playing the ball back to Forster and hoping he can handle it. It's a back four thing. It's a midfielders to the defenders thing. It's being comfortable enough to put your foot on the ball or know when you can't put your foot on the ball, and I just, I don't know. We seem to have lost that a bit. I think we've gone away from that a little bit. And I know everyone likes this all crazy, exciting football, but I think it would be a lot better if there was a bit more precision to it.
I think that sometimes players, though, themselves sort of slacking off a bit, because I do get what you're saying. Like against Man United when we were 3-0 up, for a few minutes there, we were creating our own problems by just being slack with our passing and stuff like that. When we were focused and sharp, from the start of the game, some of that play out from the back between Archie Gray and Jed Spence was so sharp, so precise. Refusal to boot it long, being able to play out of them tight spaces. I think it comes down to a player. In general, Yves Bissouma is one of the biggest culprits, right? When you're winning a game, he's the first one to sort of slow everything right down, start misplacing passes and stuff like that. So I do think it comes down to, the individual players. Like when you look at our squad, we don't have anybody that's used to winning season in, season out. They don't have that example either to sort of look at. So, when we're buying players, you are buying players that are sort of hot and cold, and you're hoping to gel them into this winning theme that learn. And I think that's just a process along the way. But I do think once you've got the right manager who's been there, done it, and knows what it takes, instilling that into them every day, I think eventually we will end up getting to the point where you're talking about where it's a little bit more crisper, a little more cleaner, a little bit more sharper, and players not really sort of switching off. Because, I do think Bassoum is the biggest one. I can go back to many games where we've took the lead. All of a sudden, he just slows it right down and kills the momentum that we're sort of trying to gain. But I do want to take a moment out, though, guys, to plug our sponsorship today, NordVPN. It is the season of giving, and I think why not gift to yourself? Everyone's been stressed, leading up to these months. Now it's time for you to sit back and enjoy all the big sporting occasions on offer, all of the Tottenham Hotspur games. And for those of you traveling, for you to be able to sign into your subscriptions and just watch TV, chill out, relax, take some you time. And also, if you've got kids and you want you time, just give them the NordVPN on the tablet, because with NordVPN, one of the great benefits is it's not just one payment for one device. It's one payment for 10 devices. So you can set all your 4 kids up on the couch with their tablets and let them watch some cartoons and give you some time to relax. Not only that, it's absolutely great for you guys to be able to save yourself money, which is important heading into January, right? Everyone's looking to save a penny or two, and it just allows you to shop around the world and get cheaper subscriptions and packages and all that sort of good stuff for your eyes, because that's what the festive period is about, sitting down and relaxing. And also, it allows you, like I said, not only to shop around, but when you're going on holidays or going away, sometimes if you can bounce your location, which is what a VPN does, to that country you're going to, sometimes you actually get better deals. And if you're worried about protection, well, don't worry about that. NordVPN have followed right through with this product, and they are giving you the best protection that is on offer. So all of your banking details in general are safe. And then once you do get to that point, some people incur buffering when they're trying to stream. Well, that doesn't happen with NordVPN. One of the biggest things they're proud about is the anti-buffering software that they've put in there, the bandwidth throttle. Absolutely brilliant from NordVPN. And guys, if it sounds good and appetizing to you, just like my Christmas Day dinner, make sure you get on the description. The link is in the description below or pinned to the chat here. Simply go to nordvpn.com. Try the 30-day money-back guarantee. There's a 2-year plan on offer, but they also have other offers, so make sure you hop on them. There's shorter offers there if you want to get on and try it out, but I do recommend it. Jack, have I missed anything?
Professional as always, Dave. Pinned at the top of the chat, everybody. Helps us out a ton. And get yourself a 2-year plan. Use the code FLATCAT, please. Professional as always, Dave. Well done.
No, happy days. Sometimes I worry that I did, NordVPN have that much good stuff. Sometimes I worry that I miss it, but I haven't. I think I've covered absolutely everything. Guys, I do want to get into a quick conversation, though, because when we were 3-0 up and Fraser Forster made those 2 costly blunders, gifted Man United 2 goals and a way back into the game, and belief, by the way, many started blaming Postecoglou's game management. We could see it sort of turning in the chat, Jack. Can a manager truly be held responsible for individual errors like those made by Fraser on the night, or should players actually be accountable for their own performances, especially in such sort of critical moments? Because I think we're getting to a point in the Tottenham Hotspur fan base where there's a tendency among fans just to deflect the blame onto the manager all of the time, and we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to move forward by doing this.
No, it feels like I said, people are entrenched with their opinions about Ange, and that just felt like the wrong game to look at the tactics for me. Fraser Forster, like you say, just made 2 absolutely atrocious errors. The second one as well, like he just sort of has, I don't know, like I understand that we should continue to play him and he should probably, just be given as much confidence as we can by the fan base. But I feel like Fraser has looked almost a little too relaxed on the ball sometimes. It's almost like maybe that's his way of trying to play out from the back, is sort of, give the aura that he is relaxed, that he feels like he has time. But sometimes he's gotten punished for that, in my opinion. But with Ange and the last game, I just feel like people are entrenched with their opinions about, him. And if they see us go a couple of goals down, whether Fraser Forster kicks it into the back of his own net or not, they're going to blame Ange. Whether it's someone at the back post, not defending, their man, they're going to blame Ange. It just sort of feels like that at this point. And I don't know. I think we just have to sort of roll with it. And I don't know, Dave, I just think, maybe people are just entrenched with their opinions about Ange. I had another point I was going to say, but maybe I've spoken too much today, so I'll let someone else. Oh, this is what it was. Just quickly, it feels like some people want Ange to take a timeout, like it's basketball or something like that. Like he just can, summon all the players over to him and then tell them, oh, no more playing out from the back. Maybe lower the high line a little bit. Tweaks and things like you would in a basketball game. It's just not how the sport works. You can't summon over all 11 players and have them completely change what they're doing. You can barely even get them to pass one message, across to each other, during a game. So
barely get them to speak to each other. Yeah.
They can't even hear each other. You can't even hear them. It's one of those sort of sports where I think once the players are out there, it's just kind of how it is. And whatever you've set them up to do is what they have to do. You can't really change all that much. And there does seem to be this belief sometimes that maybe like basketball or like other sports, that the manager can just somehow tell all of his players magically, like through some earphone or something like that, to change everything in the instant. It's just not how the sport works.
But I just don't get why you're going to change things when you're 3-0 up.
That's
what I just don't understand either. You're 3-0 up, you're absolutely cruising, and it's players' individual mistakes, and both of them happen that quickly. There's not really much time for you to sort of adjust anyway. I just don't agree with it. But look, Rooty Toot, he says, Dave, yes, if he doesn't make adjustments and keep playing 100 miles per hour, this idea, let's try and score 10 goals is for under 7. Sorry, had to say it. Look, I don't think we were playing 100 miles per hour. I think there was a period there when we were 3-0 up where we were popping the ball around and stuff like that, sort of just trying to keep it off Man United, I think. But I'd argue the minute we do get a bit laxy-daisy and start doing that is when we actually cause ourselves problems. I think when we're trying to do what the manager is actually asking us to do and go for teams, go for their necks, I think it works out well. Look, that's just my opinion, DB, but look, we're not going to fall out. We all see football through different eyes, and there's nothing to say that my vision is better than yours, DB. I'm supposed to wear glasses, so I'm not going to sit here and argue with you over that. Guys, also, what are we going to do about the fullback situation today? Because Jed Spence has really thrown his hat into the ring for a starting position yet again today. Another great performance against Man United. Another assist for him as well. We'll go to you and we'll get Soren and Dermot in on this as well, Drew. Fullbacks, who do you want to see at left and right back today?
I think I would like to see Udogie and Porro, just because I don't want to burn out Jed Spence. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, but he's still coming back from a groin injury, and with our medical team being what it is, I just, in an ideal world, if everyone was fit and I didn't have that problem, then I might like to actually see him starting instead of Porro, to be honest with you. And maybe I don't know, maybe he's got better legs than Porro at the moment. Maybe Porro does need to sit out. It's actually, to be honest, I'm just really glad we're having this conversation, to be honest with you. I'm really, really glad that, we've got an abundance of riches apparently now. It would be really, really nice if we had somebody else at left back. Somebody who I really, really like is actually playing at the moment for Bournemouth, Kirkesh. Their left back. I think he's fantastic. If we could get somebody like him, we'd probably be set. But I don't know, man. I would be very, very happy if he does start, but I would also understand it if he has to sit this one out, or if he balances the minutes across all three of them.
No, look, it'd be very interesting today, just quickly for me, because I'm about to put some sugar into my coffee to keep me awake. But look, for me, what I would do today is, personally, I think you've got to go with Destiny Udogie down the left-hand side. I think he plays today regardless. Postecoglou did say it right, that you either play as one of Liverpool or Man United. You didn't play United, so I think you expect him to play today. So for me, I think the decision is that right back. Quite frank, as much as I love Pedro Porro, I would go with Jed Spence today. When you've got a guy that's come in and made an impact, we've won the last 2 games, and they've purely been down to, him and the impact that he's made. He's been able to sort of stem the flow defensively and the pressure that we were under, because he's been absolutely reliable defensively. But he's also made an impact going forward. And for me, I think you've got to play him today out there on that right-hand side. When I look at Pedro Porro, he often needs a lot of help. He either needs the winger to get back, the midfielder to come across, or the centre-back to come across. When I look at Jed Spence, I actually don't think he needs that help. I think he sort of backs himself one-on-one defensively. And I think when you're coming up against Liverpool today, you've got Mo Salah one side, and whoever he decides to play off the left-hand side, whether it's Diaz, whoever, you're going to get players that want to get on that ball and run at them. The Pedro Porro always backs himself in beside the centre-back, looking for that help rather than go and deal with that. For me, I think you've got to get Jed Spence out there, only if he's fully 100% fit, to get out there, close it down, and deal with it one-on-one. What you can't do is back off them and invite that problem. If you're going to invite them into your box, they're going to absolutely punish you. So for me, I think you've got to go with Destiny Udogie and Jed Spence there, just for that energy, and also with what Jed Spence has brought in here. And I think, look, as much as I love Porro, until he learns, or until maybe he does need a rest, until he comes back and he's fully fit and he can show that he can live up to the task, I think you've got to go with Jed Spence. I think you've got to go with the kid. I don't think there's any... He's not even a kid. He's 24. You don't need to hold him back. Put him out there. Capitalize on it. But look, I'm going to put the sugar into my coffee, so whoever else wants to come in on it, we'll get Soren and Dermo in.
Soren?
I think I pretty much agree with you there. I've been saying it all season that Porro has caused a lot of problems for us down that right-hand side of ours. That his defending hasn't been great. He's brilliant going forward. And look, I said it last time that I'd love to see maybe Porro pushed up a little bit and Jed Spence playing in behind him, and let him interact. And maybe that would shore that right-hand side up a little bit more. But I think Udogie's got to start on the left just to help Gray out a little bit, because we need that proper left-hand side defender in there. I mean, I know he gets forward quite a lot, but he's done quite well against the bigger teams as a Doji. So for me, he's got to start. Forster's got to start as well. And, you know, he's to me, I would put a few little back passes into him very early on just to try, hopefully he doesn't cock up, but, you know, to give him that little bit of confidence and go that way. But yeah, for me, it's got to be a Doji and it's got to be Jed Spence starting. And we need Spence to start because he's got to get some time into his legs. And, you know, he's young enough to recover quick enough. So put him on, let him start, and then bring Porro on at the end. That's the way I would do it, depending whether a Doji can make it through or not. So
would fans be justified to be upset if Ange were to leave Spence on the bench? Would that be a big surprise to you?
It's probably one of those, look, games are going to come thick and fast over the next week or two. So if he doesn't start today, I expect he'll start next match. So we've got to rotate a little bit. And I do get the putting Porro in because of the experience. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be a massive shock. It's not the biggest shock on the pitch today if Porro starts or Spence starts. We're just voicing an opinion as to who we think should start. And I think Spencer's done enough to probably start. But, you know, it's one of those that I think either one starts and it's not the end of the world, is it? It's not. I mean, look, we'll go back to when we were deciding whether Forster should start or Vicario, and Forster starts, and we're like, oh no, it's not the same today with Porro and Spence. It's like, right, I get the merits in whichever starts. Personally, I would rather see Spence start, but I can understand him going for experience with Porro.
I'd be pretty shocked, Dermo, if he didn't play Spence today, but do you agree with Soren?
Yeah, I start with Spence and Udogie. That's my fullbacks, and I think everybody else has said everything on that, so that's just my opinion. I'll start with Spence and Udogie.
Okay. Fair enough. Right, we'll keep it moving. So, Dermo, I'll start with you on the next one then, my man. Where am I? Mo Salah. How important is Destiny Udogie today? Because Mo Salah, he's been involved in 75% of Liverpool's goals this year, which is absolutely mad. And also, I think he's got 17 goals and 12 assists in 23 matches across all competitions. And, you know, Destiny Udogie's going to have Trent Alexander creating overloads down that side. Do you think Udogie has the pace and ability to handle that threat? Especially considering some Spurs fans have questioned his performances this season and starting to question his ability overall. Do you think that's harsh?
It is a bit. Udogie is a very good defender, but I also feel he doesn't get the help his side of the pitch either. As much as I love Johnson, and as much as I think Johnson can and will be a quality player, and I feel that Johnson is probably one of these players that are a late bloomer, I feel Udogie's sort of been left sort of on his own on that side of the pitch. I feel when Kulu plays there, Udogie gets the help and they double up and they work together. And I think that's the problem. And then it leaves Udogie isolated, and then it's 2-on-1 instead of 2-on-2. And you look when Sonny and Udogie play together, it's like when we're attacking, Udogie does the overlaps for Sonny to give him the space to get the cross. I can't remember which game it was. I think it was Villa, where Udogie ran and he gave Son the space to get the cross in, I think, for Johnson to score in that game. But when Johnson plays with Udogie, he doesn't track back, and it leaves Udogie very isolated. So we're sort of getting overloaded on that side of the pitch. It's always...
Sorry, Dermo, Johnson doesn't play on the left. He usually plays on the right. You mean Sonny?
When he has played there, he has played on the left sometimes when we've needed him there. I think
but in general, it's either Werner or Son.
Yeah, but the same point. We need when Kulu plays. Yeah. Sorry, I got it wrong. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, fine. Yeah, sorry.
I think that's what you mean, right? Just to back Dermo up here, when he plays on the right, he doesn't offer any defensive, thing either. So that's the downside to Johnson. That whichever side he does start on, he doesn't offer enough defensive cover.
I think Sonny and Johnson, to be honest, don't usually offer enough. I think Johnson doesn't offer enough on the right, and Sonny doesn't offer enough on the left. I think Sonny has more of an excuse than Johnson because he's a lot older and is also an accomplished player that is usually our top goal scorer and usually one of our best creators. So if you were to go by the rules of the Maverick, which I know Dave very much believes in, he's probably allowed to be given that license maybe every now and again to sort of slack off. But I do feel like Udogie and Porro, to be honest, are let down by their wingers most games. I don't think we really do have very fierce pressers. The only guys that really would probably press with any sort of intensity to actually win the ball feels like it's probably Solanke and Kulusevski, Pop Matasar as well. But then apart from that, we don't really have a lot of guys that really do it with any real emphasis or really any commitment, if you kind of get what I mean.
I think the thing with that, Jack, is there is a little bit of a disagreement there because I think Sonny does do a lot more closing down than what Brennan Johnson does. And Sonny defends in that closing down, whereas Brennan Johnson doesn't do a lot of closing down.
True. You're a big Johnson fan. Do you think they're being harsh?
Well, I just to touch back on Udogie just for a second, because I don't think you can underestimate the injury at the back of last season. The fact that he didn't really have too much of a preseason, and when you're talking about like peak performance and peak Premier League, that 1-2% at the very top is, can make a big difference. And I also think, it's been mentioned in the chat, they're overplayed as well, a little bit to a certain extent, because there's not really cover that side. So a combination of all those things, when you put them together, I think is probably a reason we're not seeing, peak Udogie. But, that's not to say that, he can't still hopefully put Salah in his pocket like he has done before. So, I'm still looking forward to that battle today. But as far as Johnson on the right, I've never been. I'm a Johnson fan. I'm not going to die on the Johnson hill. I've always said that I think he needs to do more. I still think you are looking, and some people are saying this is Drew just making excuses, and that's fair enough. It's my opinion that you're still. He's being overplayed as well. There's a lot of players in the squad that have been overplayed, and I think he has got a bit of a stamina issue. I wish he had more stamina for his age. I do get what people say. I understand where they're coming from. But I think over the course of the last month or so, you're seeing somebody who has had to pick and choose when to run back, because somebody touched on it. I can't remember who it was. I think it may have been Ali Gold. He touched on potentially Johnson still subconsciously having an issue with his hamstring and not wanting to go like full pelt. And I can kind of see it because the times that he has done, there was a time in it was the Manchester City game where he just like left Guardiola for dead. Just went straight past him, just flew like a gazelle. But you don't see him do that all the time. And I think it's a subconscious thing. I think it's a fatigue thing. I think he's worried that because he's fatigued, he's going to pull something. So I don't know, man. I mean, I could be way off. He could be the most one-trick ponies. But you know what? If it works for Haaland, it can work for Johnson. So it is what it is, man.
You might need a position change. You might need to go all the way up front, if he wants to get away with that.
I mean, I think I've always felt like he's a bit more of a second striker, like, playing. I think he does a pretty good job getting into the box at times. I think his one-touch finishing is pretty good. I think he is more of a second striker than a winger. But also, what are you doing training every day? Do you know what I mean? If you were really dedicated to your craft, if you couldn't cross, like I like to think that if I was give me all this knowledge now and make me 20 years old again, I'd be staying for 2 hours after training crossing. I would be staying 2 hours. I'd be putting it on my left foot for 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd be doing all these things. And I don't know, man. I think it's very, very rare that
that's what you hear.
It's just rare.
Yeah. right? Yeah,
Right.
that's what you hear with the best players in the game. Earlier on in the career, how many people spoke about Harry Kane staying behind? We're working on his ball feet, on his finishing, and stuff like that. You're absolutely right. It does come down to dedication to your craft and staying back on working things. Just quickly, I want to say big up to Jay. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Give me a quick Kulu Messi in the comments, and all will be forgiven too, Jay. But no, look, do you know what? I'm glad, because you could be stubborn and say, no, he's still useless. I absolutely love that, my man. It shows that you may have an opinion, but with time it can be changed. Big up to Jay. Good to see you, and hopefully you're keeping well. And Merry Christmas to you and your family and the island, my man, the whole island that you own out there. Big up to Jay. Good to see you in the house. Look, let's get on to it. The lineups are out. Let's go through the lineups. Jack will read out the bench. Fraser Forster is in goals. Pedro Porro plays at right back. Dragson and Gray at centre back, with Spence at left back, which means Destiny Adoji, for some reason, isn't playing. Maybe still suffering soreness. Sarah Basuma and Madison in midfield. So it's the exact same team that took the pitch against Man United, with Kulusevski, Solanke, and so on. So it's the exact same 11. Jack, who's on the sub bench today?
No 2 goalkeepers by the looks of things on the bench, so that's an improvement from last time. Brandon Austin, Reguilon, Destiny Udogie, Dorrington, Bergvall, Olasesi also gets another opportunity. That's plenty of times he's been on the bench this year. Werner, Johnson, and then Lancashire. So a slightly stronger bench because we have Timo Werner back. We have Johnson, off of the bench, and Lancashire. So there are some attacking options there this time around, but still pretty light, on the bench. But no 2 goalkeepers this time around. So an improvement.
No, a bit of an improvement. I'm sick of seeing, 2 goalkeepers on the bench all season long. Not many teams have to endure that. But look, let's go through the panel. We'll find out what their thoughts are and get their score prediction. We'll start with you, Soren. I mean, look, lad, some people say you never change a winning team. Ange clearly subscribes to that method here. Do you think it's the right choice by Ange Postecoglou today?
I've just got to rewind it a bit. It's a stronger bench. We've got Werner on there. That was a classic, Jack. I love that one.
Jack.
Look, I can see the reasons he's done it. Obviously, Udoji's not fit enough to start, so it kind of makes sense. Kulusevski out on the right wing, where everybody keeps telling us that he's not influential enough and he can't play there. So, he seems to have done quite well over the last few matches there. So we'll see. I can see the reasons he's picked that team. It's probably the strongest team if the rest aren't fit. Score. Oh God, I always pick 3-1, but it's not going to be 3-1 today. I'm going to go, and I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say 2-1 to us. I'm not massively overconfident today, but hopefully 2-1. Liverpool are just going to find that little bit of a blip still to carry on for one more game. But yeah, I'm not going to say it the other way around. No, 2-1. Sticking with it.
Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love it. He got there in the end. He got there. He's gone with 2-1. He feels like something special can happen today. Guys, make sure you give Soren a round of applause and thank him for his time this afternoon. Absolute legend. Just quickly, we've got a brief visit from, the celebration police here this evening. We're getting a quick warning already. Alex, he says, I do not want to see the excuses from this fan base. David and Jack like echo chambers like always. What I would say is that's coming from a guy that sits in an echo chamber. So, a bit rich there. That's a bit, vain coming there from you, Alex. Second of all, the great thing is once I turned 18, I became an adult and I can give my own opinions and I can make my own decisions. So, that's the glorious things about turning 18. And third of all, look, today's an uphill battle. I don't think many people are expecting us to come out the right side of the result today. And lastly, I don't make excuses. I give my reasons why I think things went wrong and why I think things went right. It's called an opinion, Alex, not an excuse. What I would say is you keep making excuses, Alex. You keep going for the manager's head every time ever since Pochettino, you wanted every single manager sacked, and you will not rest until you get Pochettino back. And what I will say lastly, actually, Alex, let's take our mind back to We Are Tottenham TV when I first started this, yeah? Let's take our mind back there. I remember having debates with you on We Are Tottenham TV. You used to love top four. I had to tell you top four isn't a trophy. So don't come here preaching to me when I gave you that message in the first place. Get some respect. Drew, on to you, my man.
Can I give you the Liverpool lineup? Anyone interested?
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got Alisson in goal. We have
back.
Mr. Robertson and Mr. Alexander-Arnold left and right back, respectively. We've got Gomez and Van Dijk as centre backs. Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch in the midfield, and then Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah up front. So that is probably, arguably, the strongest side you could wish to face
They got
when
their
it comes to
goalkeeper
Liverpool. They basically got, I mean, the only thing, I guess, Konate would be the only change, right? If you were going to go absolute strongest, Konate in for Gomez. But yeah, so I don't know, man. That's a tough one. If we get something out of this, then we are. They'll either be really off or we'll be really on. So I don't know. Looking forward to it still because it's Tottenham, and you got to look forward to Tottenham, despite some people on the contrary.
Well, look, you better tame your celebrations. We've got the police officer.
Oh yeah, no, we better tame it. I suppose I probably shouldn't even celebrate should we miraculously win because God forbid, I should have any sort of enjoyment, and I should just, I'll just stop it there.
Well, look, at the end of the day, you're entitled to your opinion, I suppose, just like Alex is, I suppose. But look, hopefully we can get the result. Dermot, team is unchanged, my man. What's your thoughts? Give us your score prediction. I'll put your channel in there for you, my man.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
Alex, were you not entertained on Thursday? How could you
what?
not
Genuinely, actually, just quickly, Dermot, on that. Genuinely, he didn't celebrate once. I watched the We Are Tottenham TV vlog, right? Because I wanted to catch him in the background celebrating because I was gonna bring it up and go, but you're allowed to celebrate. Why aren't we? But in fairness to the guy, he didn't celebrate once.
Well, look, I love when you and Jack did the predicted and you said sitting them in front of my predictive videos for the season so far. I was in hospital at the time in A&E. I laughed out so loud when you said that, guys, and the nurse looked at me, what's so funny? So I played it to the nurse. Even she was laughing. That was the best bit of YouTube I've seen in a long time from you two. So can congratulate you on that. Absolutely fantastic. There is a CD on its way to you, Alex. The best of Dermatron predicted predictions on its way, available in all devices for you, and you get the first copy. I think it's a great lineup. It's the same lineup against Man United. Fair play to Ange for backing his guns. I think great to see Spence there again. Archie Gray is playing very well with Ruda, the Dracula, Romanian killer. And look, I'm going for a 2-1 win. I think we can do it. Look, no team's invincible. No team is on unless you're unbeaten. But Liverpool are beatable. It's the Premier League. Anyone can beat anyone. I'm going for 2-1, and I'm sticking to my guns on that. And thanks everyone. A massive thank out for everyone who got me over 2K the other day. Really appreciate it. Big up to you and Jack as well. Been always very supportive of myself and my channel. So thank you. And please, we're on our way to 3K now. So get over if you like what I have to say. We've got our usual shows today, and we're doing a few special ones on Christmas Eve as well. But I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas if I don't see you before. Jack, Drew, Soren, and Dave yourself. And I hope you all have a wonderful time, everyone. Enjoy it with your family. But let's Spurs win today. Let's get us in the Christmas mood early. Come on, you Spurs. Let's be entertaining you.
Big up, Dermot. I really appreciate that. Guys, please get over, check out Dermot's channel and smash that subscribe button. Big up, guys. Really appreciate all of your time today. Just quickly, Alex, see, this is where you need to stop and think before you start typing. I remember, wait there, I'll make sure you can see me. Oh, well, you can. I remember the start of the season, I reached out to you because I wanted to do a pre-record with you. You could come with whatever topic you wanted. We could sit there and debate. I gave you that offer. So don't sit here saying that I'm refusing to debate you. I reached out to you at the start of the season. You want to take me up on my offer now, 6 months in? Be my guest. I'm more than happy to still do that with you, my man. But let's not walk around pretending that I'm afraid to debate you when I offered, something to you at the start of the season. Big up Dan Coys renewing his membership earlier on as well, my man. Really appreciate that, buddy. Hopefully you're at the game today and enjoying yourself, and happy Christmas to you and the family. And then we've got Artist T says, like Dave always says, no Johnson equals we win. Hopefully we bring in a proper winger in the winter, so it'll be a regular sight. Look, Man City game, we won. Johnson on the bench. Southampton game, we won. Johnson on the bench. United game, on Johnson on the bench, we won. Whether it extends to the day, I'm not quite so sure. But what I would say is there is a bit of a common theme, sort of within that. And also, I think right now, Maddison is another one. He blows hot and cold. And I think it's between either of them who makes up that starting 11 right now with the injuries we've got. And look, right now, I just think Maddison is bringing a little bit more. But also, look, I'm not writing Johnson off. I think, this could be a blessing.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Fine. Just just a tiny little bit of respect. I'm not asking for much.
That's the magic words you wanted to hear.
I would just like a tiny bit of respect on the kid. I mean, when we needed him, he popped up with 9 goals and everybody's called, oh, Ronaldo, oh, this, oh, that. Everybody is so quick to just cuss this kid out. Oh, just a tiny little bit of recognition. That's all. Like, guys, come on, guys. We're a nice team and we like our players and we should show them just a little bit of love and just not get on them as soon as they can't trap a ball. With the exclusion probably of Timo Werner, because I'm getting to the point where I can't stand the guy. But come on, let's just
look. I do question
just a little bit. It's Christmas.
No, look, hear me out, right? I do question whether he's got what we need long term. Right now, you know my problems with him, Drew. You know what issues I've got with him.
I've never said that he's the be all and end all. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, you got to admit, it was Ronaldo, Brivaldinho, Johnson Agio. You know, everyone was going absolutely nuts, and then all of a sudden, because he has a couple of games, it's he's trash. Get him out. He's trash. Come on, let's just be nice. Let's be nice.
Do you know what it is, though? Right? Just quickly, I think. Look, for me, I question it, but I do think this could be a blessing in disguise. He's only 22, 23 years of age. Hopefully this time on the bench makes him realize, right, look, I've got a fight on my hands. What do I need to do to get back into the team? We're all humans. We can all get complacent, right? He went on the goals run. He probably got a little bit complacent. We're all human.
And hopefully I can completely get with that, dude.
Yeah, and hopefully he takes that lesson on board now, because it is a lesson for him. Now it's back to him. What do you want to do? Fans asked the question. He laid it down, says, look, I can score goals. Now it's back to a point. What else do you offer? It's back to him. Let's see what he does.
No, absolutely. And at the beginning of the year,
I didn't think he was ever going to go on. So he can still prove me wrong.
Well, I just said at the beginning of the year, I did turn around and say that I felt like he absolutely needed to better his stats. Because obviously, do you know what I mean? Goals and assists is what talks. He does need to do a lot defensively. He needs to build up his stamina. But like you just said, he's 22, 23 years old. He's got time. I think we should at least afford him a couple of years into his contract, Joel, a couple more years just to see really where he's at. Could he do with somebody as healthy competition? Absolutely. Would I actually like to see somebody come in maybe a little bit ahead of him? Say maybe a 27, 28-year-old, because now all of a sudden Ange is looking for experience when 2 months ago he said he wasn't going to buy experience because he didn't like experience. Can we just we'll slide over that, can we? But yeah, well, it would be nice. It would be nice. Like, I'd be totally down for it. I do understand a hierarchy, meritocracy. So if somebody could come in and maybe even help to show him the ropes, and it not conflict with the Kulusevski thing, then yeah, I'd be all down for that, man. I'd be all down for it. He's not the finished article by any means.
And look, the reality is, despite if I want to kick my toys out the pram and stuff like that, we paid 50 million. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So, the reality is, you got to try and get the best out of him.
Exactly.
But look, big up artist T. Look, I still think we need to get another winger in January. I don't think Werner's good enough whatsoever. I think you need to bring in another winger of quality. And I think then it just takes the pressure off everybody else. And sometimes that pressure being off the likes of Johnson can actually make the players. So you don't know. But artist T, I definitely think we need another winger in here, my man. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you to Soren, giving up his time, busy with family, everything, Christmas, Really appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much, my man. I want to say a massive thank you to Drew as well. You know, in between work again, giving up his time to be able to do this. Really appreciate it, my man. Same with Dermotron as well, family and all that, giving up time to be able to do this so close to Christmas. Really appreciate it. Mostly you guys out there as well. Really appreciate every single one of you tuning in and giving up your time as well ahead of today's games. It's absolutely mad that we all have something in life that just everything else goes to the side, even family. It's absolutely mad. But look, thank you, everybody. I want to say a massive thank you to the people who went the extra mile today. Dark Song G, as Radfar, Mark Cook, Dan Coys, and Artist T. Really appreciate all the support, guys. Look, hopefully I see most of you on the watch along. If I do not, guys, say you are at the game or whatever, please have a very great Christmas. Merry Christmas. Plenty to eat. Plenty of good stuff under the tree would be nice. And I'll see you at the backside of the Christmas, guys. So have a good one. And those who are joining us, we'll see you in half an hour for the watch along, for the big game today. And by the way, Liverpool fans, we have a better bird on our crest. Ours is real. Yours is made up. So come on, you Spurs. In the big hands we trust. We never stop.
There you go.
Come on, Spurs.
Our sits on a ball.
Come on, Spurs.